I guess we can do that. The wife happened to be in the room at the time. So I thought to myself that revenge was in order. There had to be vengeance for the fact that I had just died this horrible death in this game, and she just didn't even give a shit. She didn't fucking care at all. So I was like, there's gonna be some revenge that happens here. Hang on, let me read through some of the supers. I don't have a wife, but I do immediately blame it on my cat. Oh, the cats do it too. Could have fucking warned you. You know, cat could have warned you. It's insane how many people could walk away from debates or like the one against Erudite thinking she won. Oh, she doesn't think she won. We'll get into that soon too. Long time. I have not contributed to the cause. You piece of shit, but I do appreciate you contributing today for $10. Very kind of you. You see the Battle of the Tards, Gary? I did, yes. Always knew feminism was bullshit, but had no idea how much until the Rachel Rogan episode. Yeah, it's worse
I
than you ever
did,
thought.
yes.
Now I think people
Always
understand the
knew
mission a lot
feminism
better.
was bullshit, but
Just
had
killed
no
a
idea
hive
how
lord
much
while
until
listening to
the
this.
Rachel
Excellent
Rogan
episode. Yeah,
episode.
it's
So
worse than you
anyway,
ever thought.
yes.
Now I think people
Always
understand
knew
the mission a lot
feminism
better.
was
Some torture of Rachel was in order. I was like, well, I asked her, so, so what are you going to wear? What are you going to wear on Joe Rogan? He was like, what do you mean? We already went out there. Like, no, no, for your episode. He's like, what are you talking about? Like for the episode that you're going on, what are you going to wear? I go, what? I have no idea what you're even talking about. I was like, well, and I explained the situation to her. And then I watched the panic set in. Instant panic. Instant panic. So then I drove that shit home, like just like the son of a bitch that I am. I was like, and you don't even have anything to wear. What a piece of shit. I did though. I did. I was like, you don't even have anything to wear. You have nothing to wear to this thing. Then you just watch them freak the fuck out, man. Just lose their fucking mind. Oh my God. I don't. You're right. Oh my God. This guy's like, you're an asshole. I know. Dude, I did it. I did the move. I did the move. Okay. I know. I know it was fucking mean. I know what I did. So glad to see you and Rachel reach these heights. I appreciate that very much. Very kind of you. You got a particular you want to get now that well, we ain't rich. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships as well. But an MP40 is on my wish list. Wives intentionally get us deleted in games. It's true. Anyway, I drove that shit home. I was like, you don't even have anything to wear, you know? But then I was even more fucking horrible. Oh my God. I was so much worse. Okay. So I was like, after it sets in, you know what I mean? Of course, Rachel, she's she's pretty cool, right? So she's cool, calm, and collected about the whole thing. And she's just like, well, I'm just gonna go and tell him the truth. And I was like, yeah, I think you should. But me being the fucking jerk that I am, I started getting little digs in. Just like total asshole move. I was like, oh my God, honey. Like you gotta really watch it. You might have a strand of hair over your face while you're on the program, and like millions of people are gonna see that. And all they're gonna do is comment about how you had that one strand of hair. Like that's all they're gonna talk about is that one strand of hair that's out of place. Just what a dick move. You know what I mean? And she gave me the look too. She gave me the "you're gonna fucking die" look, the like "I'm gonna kill you in your sleep" look. That was the look she started giving me, and I just like dug in. You think I'm embellishing? I'm not embellishing. Okay, I'm not. Right. So I was just, like I was just jabs like that the whole time. And then it was like, no, no outfit's good enough. Like, what do you think about this? I was like, you really want to wear that? Are you sure about that? I don't even fucking know what I'm looking at. You know what I mean? I have no idea what I'm even looking at. I'm like, maybe it looks great. Maybe it looks terrible. I have no fucking idea. Like, I have no clue. I have no clue at all. It could look fantastic for all I fucking know. What do I know about fat? I don't know anything about it. I just throw on whatever's next to me in the morning. I started doing that shit too, like a fucking jerk. Really? Yeah, just start, and then you start making shit up, like she had this nice striped shirt. I'm like, oh, you don't want to wear stripes on camera. I'm like, I don't even fucking know if that's true. Now I have no idea. I have no idea if that's fucking true. Okay. I have no clue. It could be true. But maybe it's not true. I have no clue. No clue. Could be 100% the case that you're not supposed to wear stripes on camera. Maybe it's 100% not the case. I don't know. You know, just little digs. But that'll teach her to be in the room next time when I die in Helldivers. Just like purposely ruining it. Well, no, purposely not ruining, but purposely jabbing and creating conflict like a dick on only the biggest opportunity of her lifetime. That's all. No big deal. It was no big deal. You guys don't think too much of it. $5 to stop dressing up as a busboy. Congrats on all the new success. Was Rachel being on JRE the big end of the month news? It was, yeah. Come on, you guys were shocked. You guys were fucking shocked, okay?
Seriously, everything he's
Don't
said
lie.
so far.
Nobody was calling that shit.
This is him.
Nobody had Rachel Wilson on Joe Rogan
on the radar,
red pilling him on feminism in their
dreams.
2026 bingo cards for February. Not a fucking one of you.
Not a single one.
Not a single one.
It was
no cope, no bullshit. None of you ever thought it. You didn't thunk it. There was no thunking of it ever one time by any of you fuckers.
Not a single one.
And you know it. Huge W for Rachel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear Joe. He's like, I never really thought one way or the other on feminism. By the end of the episode, though, he seemed like he understood very well that there was a problem going on. Watched her interview today, and now I'm obsessed. I'm buying her book tomorrow. No, buy it today.
Yeah, buy it today.
Buy it today.
He wants a new gun. That's what he does.
Yeah, you're all geniuses. You all thought it, huh? Yeah, if that's the case, then how come when I said there's something big going on at the end of the month and all you guys were playing the guessing game in chat, none of you guessed that, huh? Not a single one of you fucking guessed it. Now all of a sudden you're like, you're fucking soothsayers. But chat full of fucking soothsayers. I knew the whole time, Andrew.
Maybe that might work. No. It's showing. But at the same time, my camera has froze. There we go. There we go. Let's see if this works more.
I knew the entire time that was... You didn't know shit. Shut up, you fucking copers. That's a W for us. L's for the chat. Take your fucking L's. Take your L's. Your generational run is awesome. I've been subscribed for over a year. I made a new Discord account to join the Crucible crew. I know recent Discord accounts are treated with suspicion. Rightly so.
He did.
Could you ask the mods to verify and let me in? You got to take it up with the mods, okay? Got to take it up with them. I did. You ignored me. Shut up with your cope. Shut up, John. Coping John. Lord have mercy. Now, this was a really interesting. Here's where the story gets more interesting. Some of the reason I haven't done as much streaming this month or last month is because for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, I've been making a new debate course.
New debate course.
And you'll never guess what the topic was.
Feminism.
It's verbal judo, and it's the master guide to debating feminism. What the fuck are the chances that we happen to be working? Like, I flew Rob out here for this. I flew out David Patrick Harry. I flew all these people out over the last few months to help me with this project. What are the fucking chances that the day before the launch of this, Joe happens to want Rachel on to talk about her book on feminism?
I mean, come on. If you haven't read the book, it's pretty freaking awesome.
That's got to be like...
And he didn't read it, but he listened to it. But at the same time...
is that like winning the Powerball?
That was pretty cool.
That's a real gay coffee cup. I agree. I mean, that's got to be... The chances have got to be like, I should have bought a lottery ticket, right?
Nah.
Do you think with some of the proceeds from all the new book sales, you could buy a bigger coffee cup? Shut up, dude. Look. It's pinky out. I'm very sophisticated.
Oh.
Yes.
Dude, I mean, no offense, dude. I mean,
DPG
seriously.
thing, long-time supporter
This
for the
is
Crucible
one of those
sends in a
things.
big
This is an
$500.
L right here.
That's got to be like...
Here, let's watch that. Let's watch that.
I mean, is that like...
Where
It's pinky out. I'm
there
very
you go.
sophisticated.
I mean, seriously. I don't have a coffee cup that size. I don't. I have shot glasses that size. But I do not have a coffee cup that size. I don't. I just don't.
Yes, a very good coffee. DPG thing, longtime supporter for the Crucible, sends in a big $500. Thanks, Jungle. Appreciate it. You know what time it is, brother? W's in the chat and like the video time live. I agree with you, Jungle. If TJ
And he is going to be
wanted
up all night if
chat
he's
to
drinking
take L's,
coffee.
he would have put it in. Yeah, anyway. Thank you, by the way, for the 500. The chances of this, just I don't know what they are, but they can't be good. Months we've worked on this project. And I've been working on it with one Steven Crowder. Joined with the Crucible in this great and noble endeavor. And you can go to debateuniversity.com right now tonight, and you can buy the new course. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Andrew, you grifting piece of fucking
There
shit.
you go.
You grifting
This might actually be a
scumbag.
course I might actually buy.
You bought your last course. And yeah, it was awesome. But now we got to buy a whole new course?
No.
No. See? How kind I am.
If you're
If
part
you
of the
bought
old,
Verbal Combat,
you get the new.
if you go right now, you can go get Verbal Judo. It's only $150 for you.
That's even nice.
Everybody else, Verbal Judo is $250 if you didn't buy Verbal Combat, because fuck you. You weren't nowhere supporting us when the first debate course came out. So, yeah.
That's fair.
If you bought the original, you get the new one for $150. You guys
That's
want to
even
see?
fair.
You want to see the trailer for it?
You gotta pay. You gotta pay
Want to
for
see
it.
the trailer?
I mean, seriously, you gotta pay for it.
Us Helldivers salute your managed democracy reference. Well, I
I don't
appreciate
give a shit
that.
about Hellguy.
Congrats to the Wilsons. You guys are awesome.
All right.
Huge inspiration. I appreciate it.
So this is a little bit boring right here. We are gonna slip on over to Rob Knorr, who is debating whether Christian nationalism is better than secular. We're
a little bit confused. That was my bad. But ultimately, Rob,
bad. I've been watching.
What was the answer?
I've been watching this
So that
debate.
that
the
person
secular state
It's bad.
is more beneficial to Christianity.
Bad.
Okay, so
There's
then
no flip-flopping happening.
okay,
Thanks,
so
Fred.
just to be clear, anybody that passes a law that quote excludes what some other religion's morality is
One of the great things about the
nationalist
State
for
of
that
the
religion, whether it be
Union,
Christian nationalist, Islamic nationalist,
Creating a law on behalf of and favoring one religion or banishing another religion. Is
well,
that
that
what you're
wouldn't be
doing?
banishing a religion.
Are you prohibiting the free exercise thereof?
Is there any religion that gay sex is the free exercise? Is that religion? I'm unaware of
No,
that.
but not all Christianity believes that it's a sin.
So what? You could still practice your Christianity and homosexuality be a sin?
Okay, so my prompt though is that the secular state is more beneficial to Christianity as a whole.
But I'm not.
Christian
But
nationalism is excluding Christians now
how does that exclude Christians in any way, shape, or form?
because some Christians could be gay, or some Christians don't think that gay people are a sin, right, Rob? So now we have one brand of Christian
Okay,
sect that is now
but
creating
any-
laws
but
on
that-
behalf of them.
but that's unique to any political philosophy. Like in secular governance will also exclude Christians on specific laws.
Ooh.
Like, for example, could a secular government outlaw homosexuality?
I guess it could.
Oh, wouldn't that exclude gay Christians?
I guess it could, but it would have to be
So then where's
informed
the
of a
uniqueness?
religious reason.
What's
It
the
would have to be
difference?
favoring one religion over another, right?
That's irrelevant. It has nothing to do with favoring a religion.
Actually, wait. If it's banishing homosexuality because of their Christian faith or the religion, then that would be non-secular.
It doesn't matter. It would still be exclusionary to gay Christians.
It's still bad.
That was your whole argument.
If it's about them being Christian, then yeah, it would be non-secular. The state would be no longer.
No, that
secular.
your point has. There's no reason why this unique difference that you're
It's so
talking about
bad.
here would matter. A Christian that's gay is going to feel excluded if being gay is illegal. He would feel excluded if it's a secular government that made it illegal, or if it's a Christian government that made it illegal. In both cases, he feels excluded. Correct?
Except the moral code is being written by religion, right?
Wouldn't matter. He still feels excluded. That's your harm. That's the harm you're identifying.
Well, no, secularism is about, creating non-exclusionary practices.
No, that's not true at all.
Yes, it is. It
That-
promotes
wait.
the freedom of Christianity.
That's
So-
first off, again, I go back to this, right? That is your
This
unique
guy's
definition,
bad.
right? That I can't find any other.
guy's
Secondly,
bad.
even if that's true, that doesn't mean it's about non-exclusionary. Like even a secularist excludes all kinds of shit. There isn't a benefit of inclusivity to secularism necessarily. For example, you would exclude all the things that you make illegal would be excluded. That's by definition exclusionary. You don't think
They'd be
that's
abridged.
bad?
They would be abridged. Yeah, by definition, it means abridged. But
Okay.
here's an example. Okay, so why don't we just think of secular courts and prayer out of schools? This is a big topic. So for prayer out of schools and prayer in schools,
So the problem with this guy is he is not listening to Rob's arguments. He is, obfuscating. He is intentionally ignoring the arguments that Rob's presenting. And he's been doing this all night. I've actually been watching this debate since the beginning, and this guy is, by far just ignoring the arguments, instead being, very obfuscating as far as what Rob is presenting. And it's really bad faith. It really is. Let's listen some more in.
do you think public schools should allow prayer? Well, like let's say a football team, hypothetically, does a prayer before.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say that it is a type of prayer that is non-Catholic. It can be Reformist, Lutheran. The translation they use, it's not something that, like the NRSV, that a Catholic would use, right?
Okay.
Who decides what prayer is the right one to use? As in, like, what translation? Does that matter? Do you think we're
For
just
whether or not it should be
Christians
allowed?
No, I mean, like, do you think people are going to have a contesting over which prayer is in the correct translations to be used?
I don't know. I'm not trying to be tricky here. Are you saying for it to be allowed, like legally, or are you saying is your preference of how you would want to pray? Do people have a disagreement on what
No,
Bible
again,
translation?
it's not really about like the law itself. It's more like, let's say we allow prayer now in public schools. Okay.
Yes.
So now we're talking about what is more beneficial to the Christian now. So there's lots of different types of Christians. They don't agree on the
Yes,
same
I would say
translation.
some
What if they use a
Christians-
prayer
some
that their sect, like Catholicism, doesn't agree with?
some Christians would prefer like King James Bible. Some would prefer NIV. Yeah, sure.
Exactly.
Okay.
So isn't that more exclusionary for Christians, depending on, let's say their high school coach, likes this version, and now he knows that his kid, one of his kids, is a Catholic, so he looks at him differently because of it.
No, I
This
don't think
happens
it.
in real life.
I don't think it would be more exclusionary. Let me explain why. So your
don't
argument
think so
is
for the
the
Catholic
counter.
Church?
So the counter to that is we should not allow prayers by the football team before the game. That's the counter.
By public schools, that way all of these types of Christianity
Okay.
can
Let,
don't
so
have
let
to
me
feel
let's
excluded.
let's go down this line. So I went to a public school. I played football. We prayed before the games. You're saying that should not be allowed because that was a public school.
I mean, technically, it's not right. Well, actually, recently the Supreme Court. I don't know if you were.
I'm just saying. You're saying that my
but-
coach said everybody huddle up. Let's say a prayer. That should not be allowed.
On-
Coach
the reason
Clark,
why,
God
Rob,
bless his soul, used to pray for us every day.
I do say yes, Rob, only if it's on the field in the public setting. I mean, what if you had a Muslim kid on your team or
All right. So this is where Rob traps him. He's wanting to protect religion, but at the same time, it's restricted. And at the same time, we're not going to restrict you as long as it's not in the public setting. I mean, how can you do that? How can you do that? I don't get it.
a Catholic who didn't, agree with the version that you
So
used?
so just one more time, just to be clear. You're
Or a
saying
Jew.
I just want to be clear. Last time you're saying we should not have been allowed to pray on the field before the game.
Rob, I said yes, and then
Okay,
I said other things.
fair
engaged with it.
enough. Fair enough. I think that's more exclusionary to Christians.
I don't know how you can think that. There's no
Because
one
I
saying you
think
can't
that-
practice
I
Christianity.
think it's
It's
one
just
thing that what you could say.
other Christians on the football team, Rob, who don't share the same view as you, might disagree, and then they're
That's-
excluded.
That's
Kinda
right.
makes
They
sense.
may.
It
That's
promotes
right. They may, and they're not
referendum as
being
well.
forced to engage in that prayer. You're literally saying that I can't voluntarily do that prayer. How do you
It is
enforce
coercion,
this?
though.
By the way, what if
It
I
is
what if
coercion.
I as a person want to kneel and pray myself? You're going to run out in the field and say, "Wait a minute, was that a prayer? Were you just praying? You're not allowed to do that. This is a public field." You see the nonsense?
Rob, I know it sounds tune-like, okay? It sounds tune-like, but like, you don't think there's any element of coercion on someone who just maybe doesn't agree with what the prayer is, a
No.
Jew or something.
No, I
You don't think there's any coercion for that kid to then,
No,
even if like his position on the team might be taken away if the coach doesn't see him
that would be
praying?
coercive.
You don't think that happens at all?
Whether or not it happens isn't what the law should be. Whether or not we should legally be allowed to pray.
Do you not want to protect that kid on the team?
I want to
from
protect
not
my
being able
right
do
to
that?
pray. And if that person
No
wants
one,
to be
no
Muslim,
one is taking away your right to pray.
that,
No one is taking
yes,
away.
you just said you are taking it away.
No.
Yes,
Kids
you-
can pray. Kids can lead
No,
a
no,
prayer
no,
on
you
their
just
own. They
said
can easily
I
do
was
it.
very clear. I said we as a team gathered and we all
talking about
prayed.
the coach.
And
Why
you
are you
said
not
that
powerful
specifically
erections,
should
even
not be
after
allowed.
taking an ED medication. It comes
I'm
down to
talking
how
about the coach.
arousal
So if I
really works.
misspoke and said that you leading a prayer, it doesn't matter. I'm talking about the coach.
So Mike, I'm allowed to pray,
Hillary
but my
Clinton
coach
was
is
on
allowed to
Capitol
pray.
Double.
Yes, because he's excluding a kid now.
Okay, now he's
Right?
excluding everyone.
I'm just kidding.
No, he's not.
Yes.
He can still lead a prayer.
Yes.
You just can't
On one
favor
hand-
a religion
on one
as a
hand, the
public
90
government
You're like, no,
service.
that's
On one hand, the 95% of our team that was Christians are now excluded because we're not allowed to engage in this as a team, which we were. And on the other hand, under your system, the 5% of people are being excluded. I'll take the 95. The Christians would be more happy that they get to pray. Yep. So your prompt is factually wrong. It would be worse
think we
for
got our answer,
Christians.
Rob.
It would be worse
I
for
think we got our answer.
Christians.
Yeah. I mean, over time, Rob, it would, because you
No.
start off with disagreements you don't see right now, but over time, you'll start disagreeing on a lot
No,
of things.
no.
That's how history works.
So just to be clear, there's spaces that are given in public schools right now for Muslims to do prayer. Should we ban that because kids could feel excluded?
Students,
Yes.
doing prayers have always been able to do that. You can be a
But
Christian
wait.
and lead a Christian prayer as a student, Rob.
Well, wait, not
You can't do it as a
necessarily.
teacher, though. A teacher cannot lead a prayer.
Wait, not necessarily, right?
do
For
you mean
several
not necessarily?
reasons. Well, let me explain why. One, because there's differences. For example, Muslims are allowed to get out of actual school time to do these prayers. Are Christians? If I said, my denomination of Christianity is 5 times a day, I want to get out of class and go in the hall and have a special place where I could face north and pray. Would I be allowed to do that?
That's the problem.
No,
This guy-
but they're
this
not
guy's-
enacting
this
you to
guy
do
is
that, Rob.
dumb.
There's a difference
This
But
guy's
between
Muslims
asking
are
for
allowed to do
religious.
that.
So
There's a difference
we
between
are
asking for religious
actually
exemption
gonna
and then
actually-
enacting that on other people.
We're gonna
Rob.
switch over.
No,
Right?
it's suggesting enacting it on other people. You don't have to
what,
participate if you don't want.
Mr. Nick Fuentes has to say.
Not only do they have to forfeit their highly enriched uranium, but they have to give it to the United States. So there was talk earlier in the talks, in the discussions, that maybe Iran would give some of the stockpile to a third country. So they might give half of it to Russia, let's say. Well, the United States today is demanding that they give all of it to the United States. And so these are the same demands. Again, this is really nothing new. This is what they've been saying for the past couple of months. This is what they said last year. These have been the demands really since 2018. Destroy the nuclear program, no enrichment, no sunset clause, and you got to give up what you've already enriched. And that's the deal. Now, not only are these a list of demands that Iran is never going to accept, but the United States isn't even offering anything in return. Iran, if they even are going to make any kind of a deal, and
We're
they
not
have made
gonna
some
give them anything in
concessions.
return.
They said they might dilute their stockpile. They might give some of the stockpile, again, to a third country. They would agree to slow or restrict enrichment for a period of time. Even if they made an agreement like that, what Iran is asking for in return is massive and immediate sanctions relief. Because if they don't have it, then their country is going to collapse. They need to fix the infrastructure. They need electricity. They need water. They need food. They need things to start coming back into the country. So it doesn't even make sense for Iran to make a deal, and they're not going to, unless they get the floodgates for investment and commerce to open up. And the U.S. isn't even offering that. They're giving basically no sanctions relief. And the sanctions relief that they're giving is contingent upon Iran's compliance with the other demands.
And we're not
So-
going to do it.
It's as I said last week, the week before, this is an ultimatum. This has not changed. Trump gave Iran an ultimatum, and the ultimatum is you're going to agree to all of our demands, you give up entirely, or we're going to war. There's going to be no deal. There's going to be no concessions. There is not a compromise. It's not even really a negotiation. Trump is saying it's a take it or leave it deal. You're either going to agree to all this or we're going to war, and that's it. And Trump has not budged. And that was clear today. Now, the timeline is about to expire. It was last Tuesday, not this previous Tuesday, 3 days ago. It was the previous Tuesday, so 10 days ago, I guess 9 days ago. It was 9 days ago that Trump gave Iran a 10-day to 14-day deadline. So the 10-day, which is obviously sooner, that's tomorrow.
This is me learning the system because I've been talking for the last 5 minutes about how idiotic this guy is. And nobody heard me. Nobody heard me. All right. So to wrap it up, it's simple. Trump, not going to go to war. Trump is going to either, make an action, make it final, get out, or get in, get out, be done. That's Trump. That's Trump. This right here is momentary optics. They are so focused on what is happening now that they forget who this person is. And he's demonstrated it over the last 2 months. But they are scaling it to the last 80 years. Trump is not an 80-year politician. Okay? He's a businessman. Businessmen do not fuck around. Okay? They don't. They don't. Get the job done. Here's your objectives. Here's your goals. Go. There's not going to be an Iran war. Because, number one, Iran cannot wage a war against the U.S. They can wage a war against our proxies. Yes, they could. They can wage a war with rhetoric and blah, blah, blah. Yes, they could. But there's not going to be a war with us. There's not going to be a war with the U.S. And if you are ignorant of history and of this man, and you have not been watching what this man does over the last 20 years, you are falling into the stupidity of what the mass media has tried to feed you. And this guy is one of those stupid idiots. I'm telling you, Trump doesn't operate. Trump does not operate like what happened with 9/11, Iraq, Afghanistan. He doesn't operate that way. I want finite plan. I want to know how we're going to go in. I want to know how we're going to achieve our goals. I want to know that the level of success and how we're going to get out. He wants it all before he goes green light, go. And I'm telling you right now, none of these idiots who think, oh, we're going to go to war with Iraq. They don't understand this man. They do not understand the level of which he is thinking. He's not a 3D, 4D chess player. He's not. Risk and reward. Risk and reward. Risk and reward. That is a businessman's mentality. And these politicians, these pundits who's been following politics, do not understand risk and reward. He's going to do one of two things. Okay? When it comes to Iran, he's going to be like, look, Here's the deal. Okay. So, business. We're going to relate this to business. Okay. Walmart, about 30 years ago, maybe 40 years ago, when they were really like, bam. I mean, they were blowing up Target. They were blowing up Kmart. They were blowing up all the small, all the big chain stores, right? And they were blowing up. And they would go to retailers. And they'd be like, we're going to buy, and all the manufacturers. And they're going to go to manufacturer, and they're going to be like, hey, I want to buy 100,000 units of this sprocket, whatever it is. We'll say this knife, okay? We're just gonna say this knife. Maybe that might get me kicked off. We'll do this pin, okay? They want to buy $100,000 of this pin. Yeah, okay. The company can only, at this point in time, that is their maximum amount of input. Great. Holy cow, we just made our year. Company starts making the pins, churning them out from Walmart. Boom, boom, boom. Walmart comes back and he goes, good job. You're awesome. I need $200,000. I need 200,000 of these pins. The company's like, oh my God. In order for us to do that, we've got to go get new machinery. We're going to grow. We're going to make so much money. Walmart's like, yes, you will. Come on. Give me 200,000 of these pins. I need them now. Oh my God. The company is like, woo woo. Trump's doing the same thing. Now here's the kicker. Okay. In the third year, Trump, Walmart, comes back to the manufacturer and goes, I need 1 million of these, but I am only going to pay half the price. The company's like, what? What do you mean? The art of the deal. Trump mastered it. Walmart mastered it. The same thing with Iran. Okay. Trump blew the fuck out of their refineries. Trump took away their ability to enrich uranium. They started to actually rebuild, and Trump's like, not the smartest move on your part. You have two options. You can buy my pen, or you're going to go bankrupt and you're going to die. And all the people around are like, whoa, we need jobs. Oh, we need money. Oh, we need this. It's the same concept. Trump went to Iran and said, stop. Or this is what's going to happen. Trump is decisive. Trump doesn't give a crap about you. He doesn't. He doesn't. And I'm talking about Iran. Trump is looking at him going like, I don't give a crap if I level your entire country within 5 days. With conventional weapons, we will do it. This is why idiots who think we're actually going to go to war with Iran are stupid. Yes, we threw out, we showed half our cards. And when I say half our cards, I mean literally a quarter of our cards, because our naval forces is 4 or 5 times larger than what we sent in the Middle East. 2 carrier groups. Not even close to what we can do. And yet, these idiots, they're idiots. And I'm talking about Nick Fuentes. I'm talking about all the other pundits. Do not understand. They don't. They don't. And I don't have any secret, sauce. I don't have any secret sources. I've just been watching this man. I've just been watching this man now since 2014. Actually, before then. But nonetheless, in 2014, when he actually got serious, he has said the same thing. I honestly don't think anybody has actually listened to this guy. They take the rhetoric, they take the bullshit, they take the showmanship, but they don't actually listen to him. Because I guarantee you, this isn't a 9/11 situation. This isn't an Afghan situation. This isn't an Iraq situation. This is nothing like Syria. This is nothing like any other operation. This guy doesn't fuck around. And I don't think anybody understands this. Now, you can be like, oh, well, he hasn't fucked around in, in our country. He hasn't fucked around. I mean, he has laws he has to follow in our borders. He has to follow these laws. And he knows this. He operates within them. But at the same time, as commander-in-chief, as chief diplomat, as the guy who can say, you know what? This is our national security. Go blow up those speedboats. Do not let any fentanyl cross our borders. Oh, how many speedboats got blown up? I don't know. But he's the one who set the tone. Oh, look, this dictator who has not been elected, who refuses to give up his power, and who is the guy who, needs to come to justice, go grab his ass. Oh, you want to try and build, nuclear refineries? Nah, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're going to buy the fuck out of them. No warning. No, this is what I'm doing. No, no. That's what I'm saying. These guys can talk all day long, all fucking day long, as far as, what they think, but they're going based off of what the old guard used to do. And again, I've been watching this guy for a long time, and I can tell you right now, his evidence of his actions there is not going to be a war with Iran. There is going to be a big smackdown. They're not going to know what hit him because they didn't know what hit him the last time. Venezuela didn't know what they got hit with. These speedboats didn't know what they got hit with. We don't have somebody in the office who is like, okay, well, let's let him play. Let's let him play. No, man. And I guarantee you, regardless of the rhetoric that you hear, this guy didn't know shit.
14 days
let's listen
is
more.
Tuesday.
Let's listen more.
So the
Let's see
deadline
what
that Trump
more
imposed on
bullshit this guy
himself
has.
and on Iran to make a deal, it either expires tomorrow or it expires on Tuesday. That would point toward imminent strikes, either this weekend or next weekend. And so I think that is how all of this is shaping up. Again, there are some headlines about maybe another last-ditch effort. They say that the Omani minister is coming tomorrow or tonight, and he's going to try to make a last-ditch agreement, and they say that they're scheduling another round of talks, and the Iranians say that it's going well. But how could it be going well? It's the same program. It's been the same program since a year ago. So we are headed towards, we're headed towards a war. That's where all the arrows are pointing right now. So we're going to get into that. We're also going to talk tonight about this.
Again, he doesn't get it. These guys do not get it. We are not headed for war. We are not headed for war. Okay, again, we have been to war. We just got out of war in 2026, or I'm sorry, 2016. Okay, 2021 is when we actually got out of Afghanistan. So you can actually, attribute to that. This guy doesn't understand. He's an young pundit. He thinks he knows everything, but at the same time, he's dumb as a fucking box of rocks when it comes to this, because Trump is not going to take us to war. You want to know why? Because Trump doesn't want a war. You know what he wants? Decisive action.
This major move in the media industry. And we've had our eye on this one for a little bit, and, it's being called an upset. But I guess that's only if you're not a conspiracy theorist. So as you know, Larry Ellison, the Jewish billionaire CEO and chairman of Oracle, the software giant, has been trying to build a media empire. He has ambitions to build what will probably become, uncontested, undoubtedly, the #1 media conglomerate in the world. Going from no media holdings, basically no media portfolio at all, to in the span of 1 year, Larry Ellison now owns the media. And we've talked about this. Last year, his son, David Ellison, acquired Paramount Pictures for his media company, which is called Skydance. And it became Skydance Paramount. And with Paramount, they acquired CBS, CBS News, number of television stations, Paramount Pictures, Paramount Plus, the streaming service. This is already a pretty substantial media holding. Just as quickly as David Ellison acquired Paramount, they wanted to go after Warner Brothers. And they set their sights on Warner Brothers, which is another massive media company, and they made a bid for it. When they made the bid for Warner Brothers, it triggered an open bid. And Warner Brothers went out and they solicited other offers. Netflix came in with a massive, substantial offer, and Warner Brothers board approved that offer. And so literally up until yesterday, from December until yesterday, Netflix had a deal approved by the board. That was the program. They were going to acquire Warner Brothers, and that was it. It was looking like it was a done deal. Well, at the last minute, Paramount Skydance came back with a better offer. Netflix gave Warner Brothers a 7-day waiver to review the offer. And now, this is the big announcement today, Warner Brothers has accepted the offer. So you're now going to have Skydance, Paramount, and Warner Brothers all under the Larry Ellison empire. That is in addition to their holdings in TikTok, which earlier this year, late last year, broke off from ByteDance and formed its own independent company. It's a U.S. TikTok company. Larry Ellison owns a significant percentage of that, owns the algorithm and all the data. So now you've got Skydance, Paramount, Warner Brothers, TikTok, all part of the same family. So that's CBS, CBS News, CNN, Discovery Channel, Food Channel, Nickelodeon, Paramount Pictures, Warner Brothers Studio, all of that, HBO, HBO Max, Paramount Plus, all of that, plus TikTok under this one family. And as we've discussed, Larry Ellison is a close personal friend of Benjamin Netanyahu, huge supporter of Israel. You could say this is the biggest push in Israel's 8th front war to make the case for Zionism and for Israel's ongoing expansionist war in the Middle East. And now it's a done deal.
Bullshit Israel. Bullshit Israel. I don't give a shit about Israel. I mean, seriously. I don't give a shit about Israel. Okay? I really don't. So let's see here. Anybody else live? I don't think anybody else is live. I think I mean, I'm not. Let's see. Rob is still going on. Let's go check on Rob, shall we? Let's go. Oh no, wrong one.
Our governments that say you're not allowed to have religions, we consider ourselves secular, such as Stalin, the Soviet Union. We see what happened to so many Christians there. And there are
one of the
other
classic
examples of this.
critiques
He
is
says, yes, but if you have a Christian
you
nationalist
could
group now,
potentially in
hypothetically
your
it could
spot
change hands,
of
etc.,
land
etc.
from a
He
run
admits,
through
though,
river or
in the
something
here
like
and
this
now,
actually dam it
Christians
off
would overwhelm.
begin taking that water supply, and is that theft? This is one of the these are very, very classic criticisms of libertarianism. At least like pure form libertarianism. There's all different forms of libertarian.
Let's see. Yeah.
Actually, I think Christians do have to pay for more abortions. I think they do have to
let's
pay
go
for
ahead
Plan B and all of this other
check
stuff.
and see what
You can
Rob's
see
doing.
over and over throughout this debate, he was forced to admit when we got to specific things, he'd be like, oh, wait, I changed my position on this. Even when we talk about where he gets his unique, again, I can't stress this enough. He has a definition of secularism, and this is his prompt. He's already heard how I define Christian nationalism. He decides to come in and basically agree with me that, yeah, until he tries to push back, which just shows that it's not really a good faith argument. It's about subverting Christianity. But he's like, yeah, it's secular, but you're suggesting secularism, Rob. No, it's not. I'm suggesting that we use Christianity to inform our policies. And then when he picks the prompt, he has a definition of secularism that's totally unique to himself. When I ask him, well, how do you come about this? He immediately starts saying things that upon pushing, he has to backtrack. Well, Article 7, really? Well, okay, never mind. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Well, the term first came up in these papers to Jefferson in 1805. Really? Because I'm reading the term first came across in 1851. Well, I don't know. Trust me, that was the roots of it. It doesn't have an argument here. He looked really bad all the way through the debate.
fast.
He can't name a prominent Christian nationalist that would ban other sects of Christianity. It's laughable. He asserts Pete Hegseth. That's a joke. Here's the truth. Classic example of an atheist that wants Christians to remove themselves from the public square. We should do the opposite. Christianity based, keep pushing for it, push for it culturally, push for it politically, and we should do more of it. That's the reason that the country's going in the wrong direction. Less Christianity. So we need more.
All right. Thank you for that closing statement,
Holy
Rob.
cow.
And Seeker, whenever you're
They decided to
ready.
close. So let's see what
Go
this
ahead.
guy has to say.
I just want to reiterate.
Gay.
I don't really
I'm gay.
think it's honest.
Gay.
Try and say that I don't want what's best for
Gay.
Christianity. Again, I mentioned that my girlfriend is Christian. I feel like religion in particular is deeply valuable for humanity as a whole. I feel like it's part of the human experience. So I'm just going to dismiss that right away.
He's
Now,
just
in closing, I
dismissing.
want to say that
Doesn't matter.
maybe
Just
summarize
dismiss.
what we've kind of learned a little bit. What have we learned tonight? Okay. We learned that the core move of Christian nationalism in this case is to be categorically in error and undefined. It is lukewarm at best and plays every number between 0 and 100. It treats secular government like godless people, including myself, that we just heard him tirade about. But a secular state is a structure, not a soul. You can be devout and still want the government to stop playing favorites. I don't think that's a compromise. That's restraint. Restraint matters because Christians disagree And none of us has perfect access to what God's moral code is as a legal blueprint. I don't think any Christian would be foolish enough to say they do. So when the state says legislate Christian morality, it must pick an interpretation and enforce it. That is the state taking sides inside the church. And once the state becomes the guardian of true Christianity, the fight shifts. It's no longer Christians debating scripture in churches. It's Christians lobbying judges, agencies, and legislators to bless their faction. And in my opinion, the irony is simple. To defend the faith, you hand it over to politics, and then politics uses it. And to put it plainly, it's essentially, like I said in the beginning, you are giving Caesar the job of refereeing doctrine. Caesar will pick a team. Maybe it's your team today. Maybe it's not tomorrow. Either way, the church becomes a tool of state legitimacy, and dissent becomes suspicious. So a secular framework doesn't insult Christianity. It protects it. Caesar will pick a team. It protects it. It lets the church be the church. Not a department of public policy. It lowers the stakes of sect differences, reduces social conflict, and keeps the
That was boring. Let's see what. Well, let's see what.
And then I can't
Jay
produce
Dyer
that much.
and,
So a handful of people are like, howdy, good sir.
Timcast.
We could
I'm not wrong here. I'm 100% right here.
You are.
Both are moving towards self-governance in lieu of a government. One is affirming that with private property, and the other is saying no, private property is what destroys that concept. You still stay in contact with your old workers? If so, what are they? That's not your business, dude.
increase the output of the grain if you let us come. And I say, all right,
It's not even a good question to ask a person.
you know what? I'm going to I'll pay you guys a share of the grain that you mill. Thank you for voluntarily coming and offering this service. They then say, there's nowhere to eat for miles. And I go, well, unfortunately, if I were to create something by which you could purchase food, that would be communism. So no.
It's not communism.
So then if I as the landowner and the company owner then say, I will open a restaurant on the property for you, from which you can purchase goods, that's the beginning of communism.
So, but you're
No. That would not be the beginning of communism. No.
No.
describing
at
a
all.
situation of a small microcosm where there's
Not
no
at all.
competition.
Like a company town.
Right, where there's no competition.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't capitalism require competition?
And who's stopping people from opening a restaurant across the street?
Which is a
The
fine
company.
critique. So I think that Tim's critique here is fine. His criticism here is no. You can still compete. It's just nobody is competing. That seems fine to me.
It does.
Like I don't see a problem with the criticism here. So the idea here from him is like, no, this could still be capitalism. And so Jay says, but this is a microcosm. You're just talking about a place where nobody is competing, not that they can't compete. And Tim's like, yeah, they can compete. They just aren't competing. So maybe they're talking past each other a little
They
bit.
are. They
I like
were
Dyer and
talking
Jim Bob,
past
but
each
you
other
sort
the
of make
entire
a
time. Tim
philosophical
got-
debate understandable to
like
us uncultured
Tim
heathens.
became a dick.
Well, you would if you have a company.
No. If I own property and
You
people
said
say,
monopoly capitalism. You would be then stopping the competition in a monopoly capitalist situation.
no. We're talking about a company town, right? Privately owned property.
Right.
So do they have to relinquish their water rights?
If the
Privately
city, if it
owned?
grows to a certain size where you begin to have competition,
That's literally communism.
No, it's not.
Seizing the assets from the private landowners.
no, I'm
literally.
Nope, that's not communism either.
Not.
So a lot of people don't know this. Inside the United States, and again, chat can fact check me here if I'm wrong, but I think on most private property, in at least many states, this is the case, that the government owns the mineral rights on
That's not true.
properties for certain minerals.
That is not true.
And if it's the case that it comes up that these minerals
That is
appear
not
on your
true.
property, they can indeed seize them.
So
That isn't actually communism.
this is where Andrew is wrong. Okay. Andrew is wrong because if in the states, in many states, in almost all states, there are two separate entities of ownership of the property. Okay. You have the land, okay, the surface land, the surface on top. Okay. You can also purchase mineral rights. Been through that, done that. I'm telling you right now. If you own the mineral rights, the state cannot come in and do anything. Now, here's the caveat. Here's the caveat that Andrew is screwed up on. Okay. Most of the mineral rights are owned because of heritage by the government. And what I mean by that, okay? So, say there is a 200-acre lot, okay? 200-acre parcel, okay? And in 1850, the U.S. didn't recognize this. I can actually look back. I can't remember the exact date, but this is actually true, okay? The government recognized mineral rights as part of the property, okay? Now, at the same time, if you did not sell that property with the mineral rights, the government automatically assumes control of it, okay? And this is the caveat. This is the caveat that people constantly forget, because there's lots of property. Lots of property. And when I mean lots of property, a majority of the U.S., you're talking, you think, the major cities, New York, Chicago, Dallas, San Francisco, and stuff like that. They're building on property, okay? They did not transfer any of those mineral rights, okay? This is why oil companies came in. Oil companies came in and they actually procured those property rights. Now, I could be about 75% wrong here. Actually, I'm about 75% right. Most of the heritage property, heirloom, okay, meaning that if there's a property that you own from, 1801, we're just going to say 1801, okay, and you have owned that property, your family has owned that property since 1801. And again, I can look at the actual date. I'm just throwing out this number just because of what my knowledge is as far as how this goes is the government can't come in and say, we own everything underneath that. No. Now, if you are in the city of Dallas, we're just going to use Dallas, okay? Now, we'll just use Dallas, okay? And the city has grown and grown and grown and grown. That property has transferred multiple times, over and over and over again. The mineral rights have not. They never transferred those mineral rights. All right? It wasn't in the contract. It was like, hey, I want to buy this 50 acres of land because I want to, I want my cattle grazed. Great. You can buy this 50 acres of land. The mineral rights were not included. 25 years later, somebody says, I want to sell this property. Another guy comes in and says, hey, I want to start my own cattle company. I want this 25 acres of land. The mineral rights still haven't been transferred. This is when the county, the state, the city can come in and say eminent domain. Now, that's the layman's explanation. I'm not saying it's 100% legally correct, so don't hold me to the word of the law, but you kind of get that idea. You kind of get that understanding of how that works. Okay? My family owns quite a bit of land, okay? We own the mineral rights. Now, again, there's not a lot of minerals out down there, and then like the state of which my family's property is in, that state cannot come in and force that domain upon them. They can't. They just can't. Honestly, if you actually, the simplest way to actually understand this, watch Landman. Okay, they explain it. They explain it almost, I won't say verbatim, but they explain how that works to where, the landowners, depending on how long it was, own the mineral rights. Now, again, if you don't sell those mineral rights or transfer those mineral rights, because it's not assumed, okay? So, in your dying will, I will all my property, all my 3,000 acres to Joe Bob so he can run my ranch. It's not assumed that those mineral rights come with it. Those are forfeited now if it's not dictated. That's in most states. Again, layman's terms. Okay? Do not say, well, in Ohio, that's not really the way it is. Again, I understand different states have different laws as far as dictation, as far as mineral rights go. Okay? Every state does. But the general idea, the general thought, and the general law that most courts uphold is you have to insist, you have to state underneath, I own this shit and this shit goes everywhere. You have to state that. It's not an assumed type of thing, because the U.S. government, the federal government actually goes, well, these minerals by right is, for the good of the country, ours. And therefore we can take them over. It doesn't work that way, but at the same time, it's also one of those things where it can, depending on the situation and what happened. So Andrew is kind of wrong in how he is presenting this, and that's not good.
Though the idea that government can come in for the benefit of the nation and seize certain assets would not be communism. You might say it's not pure capitalism, and I would agree with that, but what is it? It doesn't have anything to do with communism itself. Marxism is a specific lens in which to view the world. It's an entirety of an ideology. So it's this is neither communism, nor I think libertarian. I think we're kind of moving into just kind of talking past each other at this point.
Going to a guy who owns land and says, there's too many people here now, so your water is ours. That's communism.
Sounds like communism to me, Jay. No. If you grow to where you have a society that requires competition,
then the people can seize your assets. Agreed. We're communists.
If there's
well, that's not communism.
That's not communism. It really isn't.
That has nothing to do with communism. Communism is moving towards a stateless society. This would just be like, this would be the opposite. It's almost be like ultra-authoritarianism, maybe. They just like come in and seize all your shit. They take all your shit. That wouldn't be communism. Now, under communism, you could have redistribution policies, which may be indistinguishable from ultra-authoritarianism or something, but that in and of itself is not communism. Having public works and things like this, it's not communism. Mineral rights, not communism. Having free open waterways is not communism. Eminent domain is not communism. None of that's communism. That's socialism. It has elements of socialism. But remember that the socialist lens is focusing on the idea that the state itself is going to seize the means of production in order to move it to the worker. That's the idea. The state's going to seize the means.
So, in layman's terms, because Andrew's right, okay? It's not communism. It is socialist, maybe, okay? It's dictatorship, maybe. That's a maybe. Authoritarianism, maybe. But here's the difference, okay? So, communist is the state owns everything. Okay, they're going to come in. They're not going to just take your waterways. They're going to take everything and say, this is for the betterment of all the people that are on here. So if you're a landowner and, the scenario is, you're a landowner and, you're wanting to produce this and whatever, and you can only produce 2 bushels of corn a year. And you have, I've got all this land. I can produce 4 bushels of corn. So I'm going to hire some people to produce 4 bushels of corn. And it grows and it grows and it grows until you've got 100 people working for you in this remote, desolate area, whatever that is. And now the people are like, but we want this and we want that, and we want that. And the company goes, oh, okay. Still not communism, because it's still not state. It's still privately held. And this is where Jay's argument comes into play, is because the company owns the land. The company owns all of it. And they're paying you in order to produce from that land. Just kind of like sharecroppers. Really it is. I mean, if you look back in the days of, the end of slavery, sharecroppers are the same thing. I can't produce this crop of cotton because I had to let all my slaves go. Okay, so what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So they got smart. Okay, tell you what. I'm going to give you an acre of land. You can do whatever the fuck you want on it. But at the same time, in order to pay for this acre of land, you need to work this 20 acres of land. It's the same shit. The landowner still owned the land, but he's like, you know what? I'm going to give you this compensation to work the rest of it. The guy goes, I get an acre. Fantastic. I can do whatever I want with this acre. And that's what they did. It's not communism. It's not communism.
Means of production, give it to the worker. That's stage 1 of communism. In this case, it is true that the state is seizing the means of production on private property. So if you want to say that that's socialism, I suppose you can. But it doesn't seem like the goal of that is to move it over to the worker, which is what socialism is. That's what its intent is, right? So just because the state seizes your property or seizes the means of production itself, that wouldn't be socialism unless the entirety of the means of it was to try to somehow give it to like a worker co-op or to the workers. That's the whole point, right? Like the state seized this giant Fortune 500 company,
which is what I just said,
and it allowed the workers then to vote who they wanted the new CEO in, and they set their own salaries and blah blah blah. That would be more like socialism,
more like communism.
I should be a Rumble mod, Batman says. I don't know. Ask the Rumble mods; they might make you a mod. I don't know. Beekster says for 50 in company town.
So, that was the case. If a private ownership decides to go ahead and hire people and it gets so big to where a city involves, okay, the city still can't come in and go, that's my land, unless it was, by force. Okay, that's, dictatorship. That is, what's not happening, especially in this day and age. All right. They don't do it. So his logic, while, I understand Tim's logic, I really do. At the same time, he is wrong in the fact that he doesn't understand that a company can go out and buy a parcel of land, hire people to work that land. The land and around them, okay, becomes, a city. That land is still owned by the owner. The city is not going to be able to come in legally and say, oh, well, we want that. They can't do it. They will lose big time. Okay. And to be quite honest with you, I mean, it's one of those things where if you actually watch the dynamics, because Yellowstone, the TV show, actually played this out dramatically on what landowners will and can do for eminent domain. And they want it, and they want it, and they want it. And again, it's fictional, but at the same time, it hit a actual factual point that is been, upheld over and over again. The owners of the land, if it is, one of those things where, the mineral rights and or anything else can be disputed. So, all right, folks, it is getting late. I have gone over a little bit longer than what normally I do. So we're going to wrap this up tonight. We're going to come back tomorrow. We're going to see what's going on in the world today or tomorrow and later on today. We didn't even touch Cuba, which I wanted to do, but that's okay. And we'll see what's going on tomorrow. So God bless. Y'all have a good night. And I hope that you can enjoy the rest of your evening.